Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. Welcome to another eBay video. Today is one of those videos where we have a lot of serious topics to talk about, an awful lot, and I really need to cover all of them. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but please pay attention. And please try and watch the entire video, even if it's in increments, just so you absorb all the material I want to present. Do I need to tell you that right now I'm inside because it's raining? 3 straight weeks of rain. But guess what? They're predicting some sun for tomorrow. It's so monumental and so out of the ordinary that it's actually making headlines in the news. I'm not kidding you. It's one of their lead-in stories, like story number 2, predicting we're going to have sun tomorrow. Strange but true. What I want to talk about in this video, the following topics. eBay's refusal to remove unwarranted negative feedback, an item that is a described case that was falsely filed, China sellers, cancellations, and more problems with immediate payment. Each of these topics is serious in nature, and as you guys know, or should know, and for those of you who don't know, I've been selling on eBay since 1999, over 24 years. I'm a serious, hardcore eBay seller, and I always recommend people to sell their used items on eBay. It's the best place to do it. Sadly, the last year or so, the climate has changed immensely, whereas sellers seem to have little or no rights. This is not just my feeling. This is the feeling of most eBay sellers. I invite you to go on YouTube and do a search of recently posted videos, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be talking about some of those videos as we go along. But I want to start off with first the problem with immediate payment. In last week's video, I showed you that a person had purchased 3 items from me. I accepted their offers, and I never was paid when I was promised immediate payment. It took approximately 60 hours, which is about 2.5 days. Is that eBay's definition of immediate payment? Well, you know something? It is. You want to know why? Want to guess what happened to me? So on Thursday morning, I woke up to a best offer from a particular eBayer. He made 2 offers on 2 different items that I had. Both his offers were reasonable, and eBay told me I would be paid immediately. So let's say this is Thursday morning at about maybe 7 a.m. How long do you think it took me to get paid? And I know you're all going to get this one, so I'm not even going to ask for answers. The answer is never. It is now Friday. That's the current time right now. And there is the picture, so you know I'm not lying to you. See? Sold on February 1st. Today's February 2nd. I spoke to 2 friends of mine yesterday who both sell on eBay Motors, and they're experiencing the same thing. One of my friends has an outstanding order from almost 3 days, and he was told he'd be paid immediately. So something is seriously wrong with this immediate payment, where eBay is telling us we'll be paid immediately if we accept the offer, and we're just not being paid then. Early on, I thought that maybe there were some people that didn't have enough money on their credit card, but now it seems to be a little bit more widespread. And serious than I had originally thought. If any of you guys have any ideas, I'd love to hear what you think is causing this. I had another false item not as described claim. I listed an item that I knew was going to cause problems. It's one of those things you know, and I listed it for only 20 bucks. And I said, these measure 3 inches. 3, okay? Today, this clown files an item not as described case, so he doesn't have to pay the shipping back, claiming that I said they're 3.25 inches, which if you look at the listing, it clearly doesn't say that. So, I guess I'll have to wait till I get the item back, and I'll be taking a nice little deduction for shipping both ways, because that's what I was told to do by eBay Concierge many times. If this guy gives me any trouble, I'll probably be doing a video about this in the near future. China sellers. They continue to be the scourge of eBay Motors. Just to give you an idea how bad they are, yesterday I needed to buy, well actually I didn't need to buy anything, but I went to the junkyard and I purchased some alloy wheel center caps. I decided to do a search on eBay to see what other eBayers were selling them for. That's what I do sometimes to get a feel of the land, a lay of the land. And I was shocked about 2 things that really, really depressed me. Number one are the legit sellers, people like you and me, who are engaged in a race to the bottom, selling items for $12 with free shipping when the shipping's going to cost around $6. Who does this and why do they do it? Are you really that desperate to make a sale? You're going to work for $6? And when eBay fees come out of that, it's going to be less, my friends. But the second and more troublesome thing was that there are a proliferation of China sellers, as I've talked about before, selling things that are made overseas, illegally putting GM trademarks on them, and other companies too, and representing them as legit, and selling them cheap, and people are snapping them up thinking they're getting a good deal, but they don't fit right. And there was one comment in particular that stood out yesterday, a negative comment. This one buyer left. He said something like, I thought this was going to be a factory part because it led me to believe that, but it doesn't fit my wheel correctly. I am sick of getting stung on eBay Motors. It's not like it used to be. I will never go back to eBay to buy anything again because of the proliferation of drop shippers and China sellers. If I wasn't in such a rush to cover a lot of material, I would highlight that screenshot for you. But that's important because that is the general consensus in eBay Motors. And it's ruining it for everybody. And eBay doesn't care. It falls on deaf ears. Next item I want to talk about, cancellations. This has always been a hot topic, and I got one a couple of days ago, seconds after the guy made the purchase. The purchase price was for 4 factory hubs, $36 plus shipping, which is dirt cheap. Seconds later, and I do mean seconds, the buyer wants to cancel. Now we both know why he wants to cancel, because eBay showed him the same item cheaper, which is a terrible, despicable thing to do to its sellers. That being said, as you know, my cancellation policy is I will cancel as long as I haven't printed the label. Whether it's 1 minute, 1 hour, 5 hours, don't matter. As long as I haven't printed the label, I'll do the cancellation. If the label's been printed, I won't. All right? Now, although I agree to do the cancellation, I feel, and I think you guys do too, that eBay is playing dirty pool with its sellers by showing our buyers the same item cheaper after they buy from us. Like I've said in previous videos, it's like if you're renting space in your local mall, a customer comes in, buys something from you, they're satisfied, they go walking out your door, and there's the landlord of the mall saying, stop. You could have that same item cheaper downstairs in the store next to the food court. Then the customer comes right back to you and says, I changed my mind, I don't want it. It's just not right, okay? I think you all agree on that. So that's why I do agree to canceling orders if I haven't yet printed the label, but if I printed it, it's going, okay? It's going. They want to return it at their dime, fine with me. I'll take it back. All right, next topic. And this is going to be a pretty deep dive into unfair negative feedback removal. Oh, and one more thing that I didn't even mention either when the video first started. Remember the 1,000 layoffs that eBay announced a couple of weeks ago? Well, for those of you guys who go over to e-commerce bites and Ina Steiner's column, she put up a nice little article about it. And she listed the various departments where the layoffs are coming from. Do you want to take a guess where 1/3 of the eBay layoffs that were announced are coming from? I'm going to take a drink while you shout out your answers because I don't think you're going to get it. No, 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 no. Thankfully, it's not customer service. Thank God for that anyway. And it's certainly not the executives. You don't have to worry about that. It's 1/3 of the layoffs are coming from software engineers. Can you believe that? The code slingers. Like we don't have enough bugs on the site right now, they're laying off 1/3 of the people who are there to address those bugs. I just figured I'd pass that little bit of information to you. Will it mean anything in the near future? Christ, I don't know, man. But I'm just thankful it's not the customer service representatives that are being laid off, because we need them. Now, let's talk about unfair negative removal, or the lack thereof, and what's going on. I happened to watch a video, and I'm sure some of you guys saw the video. It was put out a few days ago from another YouTuber who makes eBay videos and other online videos. He's got an absolutely huge following on YouTube. Christ, I'd love to be like him when I grow up. He's got over 10 times what I've got. Oddly enough, he doesn't seem to sell a lot on eBay, but he does sell some high-priced items. And I'm going to relate the story that he told because it's concerning. He told a story where he sold a pair of high-end, expensive sneakers. They went through the eBay authentication process, meaning the buyer buys the sneakers, all right? And then I believe the seller who shipped right away, he's a good seller, he shipped right away. I think they went to eBay authentication, wherever that is. They looked at the sneakers, they said they're fine, sent them off to the buyer. The buyer got them and loved them. They were exactly what the buyer wanted. But the buyer went ahead and left this seller negative feedback, saying that it took too long to get the sneakers authenticated. Now, guys, you don't have to be a smart tangerine to know that the seller did nothing wrong. He has no control over how long the authentication process will take. So he called up eBay concierge to get the negative feedback removed. Apparently, he hadn't had any negatives in a while, like I have, so he didn't know he was going to run into a brick wall, which he did. He was shocked when the rep told him that they no longer have the ability to remove any negative feedback at all. It has to be done through the online form. Okay. He agreed to play the game. He went to the online form, filled in the information, gets a response from eBay saying they refuse to remove that negative feedback, saying it's the buyer's feeling, the buyer's perspective, the buyer's rationale, whatever you want to call it. Oh God, oh God, is this what it's coming to? Really? So what he then did, I myself would have gone to eBay for Facebook, eBay business at Facebook. I would have gone to, and what he did was he went back to the original buyer and explained his case to them and said, "Would you please, consider me? I'm just a seller. I shipped them out right away, as you can see, but on eBay's end, the authentication process took a little bit longer than it should, and they dropped the ball. I didn't drop the ball." And he was very lucky that the buyer agreed to revise the feedback and did. So that's great for him, but it's bad for everybody out there that eBay is refusing to remove unwanted negative feedback even when it's cut and dry. Now, I was reading some of the comments, and there is pure gold in the comments. Okay? I'm going to read 2 comments to you right now. I'm going to read them off the screen. You can't see that I'm loading them, but I am. And I'm not going to say who wrote them, but I don't want to. But if you want to go to the comments section, that's up to you. But I'm going to read comment number 1. eBay definitely needs to rethink their whole antiquated feedback system. The fact that a buyer can make an offer, then not pay, and still be able to leave you a negative feedback is absolutely crazy. It took me 3 different reps before I got a different answer than, quote, the buyer was just providing feedback on how they felt the transaction went, unquote. What transaction, eBay? They never paid for it. Unbelievable but true. What that seller said was true. The way eBay is set up, a buyer can send you a best offer, you can accept it, they don't have to pay for it, nothing's done to them, and they can leave you a negative feedback, and eBay will refuse to remove it. That sucks, okay? That sucks. Next comment I want to read. This is by somebody I know personally and very well, a really nice lady, and for her to say this, listen, I cannot take it anymore. 3 negatives and a neutral feedback in the last week. I have done all I can. I cannot get them removed. eBay doesn't freaking care. These buyers are lying, ruining the system. Sellers have 0 protection. My sales have tanked. I'm fed up. I have no idea what to do. Concierge doesn't respond. This is my freaking livelihood here, and eBay doesn't give a damn about sellers anymore. Not even the ones who have dedicated years of their lives in support of a company and community for free. 50% of my business is now elsewhere. If I could afford to lose the money, 100% would be gone forever. But with this damage this week, it might all be gone anyway. I'm beyond hurt, pissed off, and disheartened by the lack of response. Like I said, I know this lady personally. I've met her in person, I've talked to her. She's a very nice lady, and she has always been a person that's been a strong proponent of eBay, like myself, like many of you, and just want a level playing field. And I'm telling you now, not that I need to tell you this, right now, February 2024, eBay is not a level playing field. The buyers have all the protections and the clout, and we have, I'm going to cover my mouth and say, we have dick, because that's what we have, okay? How did this happen? How did we let this happen? We are back to the dark days of Donahoe, and in some cases, possibly even worse. This business with look what I've just brought up to you in the last 20 minutes or so. I've told you about the cancellations because eBay is showing our buyers items cheaper than ours. That's what we get. I'm telling you, eBay refuses to remove feedback, even when it's definitely false and goes against policy. Again, eBay has not made good on any of its promises, including, but not limited to, sanctioning deadbeat bidders. This reflects on the comment that I just read earlier about the deadbeat bidder who left a negative feedback. How can that even be allowed? eBay has not made good on its promise to have checks and balances in place to stop bad buyers from abusing the feedback system. For instance, one buyer leaving 30 or 40 negative feedbacks. Come on. In what world is that acceptable? All right. You guys have been on eBay a pretty long time. How many negative feedbacks have you left this year, going back 365 days from now? My answer, 0. How many have you left in the last 2 years? 0. All right? It's rare that I leave a negative feedback. I don't like it. I don't like doing it. I feel bad about doing it. I can only see doing it is if a seller sells me something and refuses to ship the item and pockets my money. Or if they do a bait and switch, if they would list, let's say, a Rolex watch and they send me a Timex, that kind of thing. It's just unforgivable. Where are the values? We were all brought up with values. Come on, guys. What's going on today? Where has eBay progressed to? Or should I say regressed to? This is not the kind of video that I enjoy making. But I always report the news as I see it and as it happens. I'm a straight shooter. Even when you guys don't agree with every single thing I say, I think you'll all agree that I've always been honest and forthright, and I've reported things to the best of my ability. Everything I have said in this video can be substantiated. I'm not making anything up, and none of this is conjecture. And in the rare time I will speculate, I will tell you ahead of time that it's hypothesis on my part. I will never knowingly feed you false information. So guys, let's do a brief wrap up and then I'll let you go. It's February 2nd, 2024. Right now, it's tough selling on eBay. The deck is stacked against sellers, all right? What's going to change in the future? What's not going to change? I see a fee increase on the horizon. I don't know when, but I'd be very surprised, extremely surprised, if they don't increase fees in the calendar year 2024 in some way. Extremely surprised. And when they increase them, they won't say something like, well, this is going to take 6 months. We're going to roll it out gradually. Oh, no. This ain't immediate payment we're talking about. This is a fee increase. This will go into effect by the end of the month, of whatever month they make the announcement. It's sad. It's shameful. Because eBay is still the best place to buy and sell your used items. It's a cash cow. But the powers that be have let it get away from them. They haven't really kept eBay to its solid roots. Like many of you guys have said, they want to be Amazon, and that doesn't work, all right? Amazon is Amazon. That's them. We are eBay, okay? We're different. You don't want to you don't want to copy your best friend when you go out and hang out and act. You want to be yourself. You want to be independent. You want your own identity. And for crying out loud, eBay, let's go back to being the eBay we remember of years ago, where the playing field was even. I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you make a lot of money on eBay this week. Rock on and peace. And in the comment section, please comment on any of the topics I've discussed. I know they're all heavy topics, but I think these are things that we as sellers need to discuss, need to bring out in the open, and with our voices chiming in together, maybe we can get the powers that be at eBay to listen to us. Goodbye.